This is Let's Talk Business with your host, Marc Ebinger. Now, here's Mark.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Business Podcast. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk about using an overseas virtual assistant in a U.S.-based coaching business. In studio with us today is Kalvin Langenberg, owner of Long Haul Coaching, where he teaches competitive individuals how to manage pain and reclaim their athleticism. His approach is tailored to men who value family, uphold high-quality character, and are committed to not settling for mediocrity. Kalvin, welcome to the show.
That was pretty good. Is that like a ChatGPT generated?
So, yeah, that's part of my research is,
Oh, wow.
go out there and grab that stuff, and then I finesse it
Man.
a little bit on the way in. But you want to make sure we capture – I know a little bit about you, so I think that captured a pretty good intro for you there.
ChatGPT is solid these days, man.
It is. It's definitely a tool that you combine VAs, virtual assistants, with ChatGPT. You have a whole other level of capabilities, you know. And it's getting even more and more comprehensive in, like, there's stuff you can do with emails and responses, and it's kind of crazy. It's a lot to keep up with, but.
Yeah, I'll tell you this much, though. So my wife's birthday is on the 17th of February. Valentine's Day is also the 14th. So I try to do something big. So the thing I've been doing is I write her a song. And that's like my thing. I gift her a song for her birthday or Valentine's Day. And we also do, maybe go to dinner.
You're setting the bar kind of high, Kalvin.
I know. I try. But like this time I was like, you know what? Maybe ChatGPT can help me write this song. So I gave it some prompts and stuff. It didn't pump out something very good. So I had to use my actual brain to come up with a song again. So just throwing that out there. Anyone who wants to write a song for their wife, don't use ChatGPT. It's not a good time.
Yeah, it doesn't have soul.
Yeah.
There's a
beep boop.
Country singer who's got, he can't talk anymore. I don't know if it's Randy Travis or somebody, but it's a local singer, very well known. Well, he's launching an album that AI is using his voice to actually sing for him.
Wait, he can't talk anymore?
No, he can't talk anymore. Yeah.
He can't sing anymore. I'm
Nope,
assuming.
but he can write.
Okay.
And so he wrote a whole album, but he's having the AI actually do the singing and stuff for him. And I can't remember who it is. If it's not Randy Travis, it's somebody else that we kind of know here in San. It has a house here in San Antonio.
That's crazy.
But yeah, but there's a lack of soul there that you're missing. And I think customer service wise, one of the reasons why I love the virtual assistant staffing side is because we're combining real human beings that care about the businesses that they're working for, and low cost. And then when you combine it with AI that's available to them, they can actually really magnify their services and their ability, but still having that human touch, I think, is super important.
Unmatched. It's unmatched. It'll never go away. The human. It sounds weird. Human touch.
Well, yeah, this world is for us humans to enjoy, right? So I don't think that'll ever go away. Yep. But anyway, so I'm excited to have you here, Kalvin. I'm your host, of course, Marc Ebinger, the CEO of Crükus Virtual Staffing, a company that recruits and staffs experienced overseas administrative assistants for insurance agents and attorneys, and, of course, all kinds of local businesses as well. So if you're curious about the most common tasks that virtual assistants are doing for businesses, head over to our website at Crükus.com and grab a list of the top 20 tasks that VAs are doing for businesses like yours. The link is in the podcast description. Now, a quick reminder to follow Let's Talk Business Podcast on all major podcast platforms and social media where you can catch video versions of the show. Of course, you can get to everything easily from our website at satalkradio.com. And then, of course, we love interacting with the local business community. We have a big footprint here in San Antonio. So we're going to have a big mega mixer coming up on March 27th. So I want to give a quick shout out to Carlos De Leon and his team over at Delexico Consulting for being a platinum sponsor for the upcoming Let's Talk Business Mega Mixer on March 27th. Based in San Antonio, Delexico Consulting specializes in leadership training, business consulting, culture design, and business coaching. Their Elevate and Lead program focuses on developing authentic leadership skills, while their FORM method helps business owners streamline financials, operations, marketing, and team building. So if you're looking to enhance your leadership capabilities or optimize your business operations, be sure to check them out at delexico.com. That's DELXICO.com, or call them at 847-650-6972. All right, so Kalvin, give me a little bit give me about 90 seconds of your business, kind of like what your goal there is and what kind of services you give folks.
Yeah. First of all, you're pretty good at this, Mark.
Well, thanks,
man.
You've
been doing it for a little 600 times or something like that. You had some practice. Yeah, man, my business is super simple. I mean, basically just kind of how you set it up. I help guys over 25 who are struggling with knee, back, hip, ankle, shoulder pain. Those are the ones we see namely. And I'm hyper competitive. And so I like working with hyper competitive guys that want to keep playing sports. But there's also a little bit deeper meaning there, or a deeper purpose there, because, you know, your physical is just a piece of, you know, who you are as a man. We have a lot of responsibilities, and a lot of the responsibilities are also mental and spiritual as well. And so the way that we prepare for the certain standards that are required from us is through the way that we train. And so, I help guys train and prepare for not only sports, being pain resilient in that regard, but, you know, playing with their future grandkids or playing with their current kids, you know, throwing the football without their shoulder hurt and things like that. That's the mission.
Yeah, so if you don't have your health, you really don't have much of anything. I mean, your life's completely different. I went through an illness recently and wasn't able to even talk for a couple of days.
Jeez.
And it's something that will wake you up to, like, really being grateful, number one, for good health. And what the human body is capable of doing is absolutely mind-blowing. And it becomes very self-evident when you lose capabilities. You know, so, yeah, I'm very thankful for my body, and very much more aware of the importance for health. Yeah. And as Americans, we really take it, probably worldwide, we take it for granted, especially in our youth. They say the youth is wasted on the young. But certainly as you get older and things start to maybe not work as well or break, you become a lot more self-aware of how beautiful that life can be when you're fully healthy and you have the energy and the passion to do things. Passion combined with energy, is a big deal. And when you're older, some of that stuff kind of fades a bit. So I think what you're doing is super important, you know, especially guys maybe even older, you know, 50, 60 years old. There's a lot of benefit, and they might actually be even more aware and more grateful for the opportunity to regain some of that.
Yeah, I think what you said is key. Is I think there's this lack of belief, or there's this false narrative around age. And what I see very commonly is guys are in an environment where health is not something that is held to a high standard. They're surrounded by people that are, oh, my back is hurting, my knees are hurting because I'm getting older. And it's just this blame game, this victim mentality. And it's like, if you applied that to business, like, guys don't like when you apply it to business. It's like, oh, we got our business. This is where we got to focus on things that are within our control. But then it comes to their body, and then they're just like, well, I'm just getting older. It's like, well, come on. Like, the human body is the most incredible organism in this entire universe. Like, show it a little bit of respect. Give it give it some of the proper things that it needs. Train the right way. And I think that when it comes down to it, a lot of people are just, it's not really necessarily their fault, but unfortunately, a lot of people are just ignorant. They don't know how to take care of their bodies. They go into the gym and they're just doing the typical push-pull legs bro split or something. They don't even know what it means to train like an athlete anymore. They probably never knew what it meant to train like an athlete, because all they have is like this, I don't know, high school strength and conditioning football coach that was like, all right, get under the bar and, try to squat, box squat 600 pounds, and they hurt their knee, and they're like, oh man, like, yeah, this training thing's bad. And they throw the baby out the bathwater, and it's like, dude, when was the last time you focused on flexibility? When was the last time you stretched? When was the last time you got enough protein throughout the day? And I think that these little things, like, so I call it long haul coaching, because it's something when you look at your ideal self, and if you close your eyes and you imagine yourself, okay, I'm 50 years old, I'm throwing the football with my grandkids, I'm cooking my kids in a foot race, I'm doing a cartwheel or something, I'm playing basketball, whatever. I'm not looking back on 2 weeks of training. I'm not looking back on 2 weeks of getting good sleep. I'm not looking back on a month, a couple years. I'm looking back on decades and decades of just repeating the fundamentals, narrowing down the basics, training properly. There's a lot of trial and error mixed up along the way. A lot of times I've failed, but it's a decade. It's long haul coaching. So you have to have that long-term mindset, and that's where it starts. And that's why it's called long haul coaching. And so there's some people out there that they like I don't have anything against like chiropractics or acupuncture therapy. A lot of that stuff's amazing, but you have to understand that you are always in control of what happens. And there are things that are out of your control, but you are in control of the things that you can control. And so you have to take personal responsibility for those things, and you have to do those things over a long period of time. And that's the only way that has the potential of having a positive outcome, because there's no guarantees, but that's the only thing that has a potential of having a positive outcome. So again, I have nothing against those things, but if you have that short-term mindset, like I'm just going to go to the chiropractor and he's just going to fix me up one day, next day I'm going to be fine, and you continue eating junk. It's like,
well, it's a culture of wellness, right? It's what we're talking about is if you think of it as culture, then you're thinking long-term, right? You're not thinking of acute, something you're going in to fix. You wait for something to break, then you go fix it, and it's this back and forth thing all the time. It's a culture of wellness that as Americans, we're not as in tune with. I don't know if other cultures are or whatever, but I just know from what I grew up around, for me, there wasn't this culture of wellness and fitness and exercise other than the police department, which was, I got to do the bare minimums in order to do the things so that I can do my job, so forth. There's a little bit of a culture there, but how much better if our kids are really raised in a culture of where you pay attention to physical, emotional, mental well-being, spiritual. You can't forget the spiritual side too. It's like, trying to eat all the protein, you're not getting any fiber in your diet. It's like spiritual is a huge part of what makes this a human experience.
Yeah.
But kind of bringing this around to, obviously from a business perspective, I've been in the virtual staffing business for a few years now. I've staffed lots of different folks. I think you might be the only coach that I've got staffing with. So tell me, what made you decide to hire a virtual assistant, and what are you using them for?
Yeah, I got to give a huge shout out to Heather. I went to one of her events, and we were just kind of dissecting different bottlenecks in our business, and I was just spending so much time on the CRM. And like my business is super simple. It's been a process learning how to transition things online, because for the last decade of my life, I would help people in person. I'm 100% confident I could help people in person. But then it was like, okay, now I have to niche down. That was something that was different, because when you're in person, you're just like, I've helped all types of people across the board. But then it's like, all right, you have to pick a niche, and then with your niche, it's like, okay, you have to have a very like systematic process, to where it's like before it was kind of like, all right, everything's customized for the person because everyone's different. But now it's like, okay, now when you have your niche, if you want to scale, then you have to have something that's like, okay, this is the problem I solve. This is the type of person that I solve it for. And so this is kind of the step-by-step thing. So you have to create all those things on the back end. And so, you have to create the offer. You have to create the actual logistics. You have to, have people go through those things and, kind of try them out. So there's a lot of like, hey, I'll coach you for free for 6 months. I just need a testimonial at the end. Try this thing out. And then, okay, cool. And so it's like, it takes time to get results, And so that was kind of the process of where I was going through. And so my goal for my business has been to generate leads online. I don't mind going to networking events. I love networking events. I think it's fun. But I value freedom of time, and I value freedom of location. And if there's two things that I could pick, that's like, what do you want? I was like, I want freedom of time. I want freedom of location. I want to be able to go work in a coffee shop over in Nevada, or wherever I want to go. And I say Nevada because my brother lives up there, so it'd be like cool to go visit my brother, but still be able to work at a coffee shop there. But anyways, location freedom, time freedom, those are the biggest things. And so I realized that like if I was going to these networking events all the time, it'd be like, all right, this is the only place where I'm generating leads or whatever. And so I just think that the potential of generating leads online is just incredible when you figure it out. But it's a skill. It takes time. And so I built out a CRM, and I was managing people. My Instagram started to do really, really well, and it got super overwhelming. I was spending, upwards of 3 to 5 hours a day, just taking every single person that messaged me, commented, liked, whatever, every single person I interacted with, putting them in the CRM, and just keeping tabs on everyone. And then coming up with a process for all that stuff. And so it was getting overwhelming. And so after talking with Heather, it was like it would just be easier just to delegate some of this. thankfully I had already had a process of, okay, this is like, these are hot leads. This is how many times we follow up with them. And so that's when I had reached out to you, and Nina came on, and dude, Nina is, I'm sure that all of the VAs are like this, but she's on top of things, man. I'll mention a few times, like there was one time where she came back to me because we decided to kind of switch things up, that we were doing our outreach. So we have a basic outreach message for any people that organically interact with my content. So we were thinking, okay, let's increase the touch points to 7. So every single day we go and reach out to those people. If they don't follow up, 7 days after that, we have like follow-up messages that we send them just to try to get a conversation started. And she came back after the first week, and she had this report that she had made that basically broke down how many messages, or the percentage of the people that were responding per the messages. And we figured out that after 4 messages, we didn't get a good response rate. And so we're just like, okay, we don't need to do that anymore. We just do 4 messages. That's the max. And then so little things like that, or she created like I had this, I had a couple different ideas for a funnel that we were using. We since just kind of simplified things, but we were just kind of playing around with things, and we simplified the funnel. And like the next day she had created this, I guess like a workflow of like exactly how the funnel is broken down, and like this piece and this piece. And I'm just like, wow, this is incredible. Like just going over and above, and like, even getting on calls with her. And it's not just like, okay, Nina's like someone that just kind of goes in there and does the work. Like she's a business partner. Like I can ask her some things like, hey, how do you think this process is going? Like, do you think this is a good, and he's like, yeah, that message just, doesn't really seem to hit with people. So we changed the message. And just having someone there that's just like, I mean, she's brilliant. She shows up on time. She works hard. I think she's in school right now. So she's, juggling other stuff too. It's just, it blows my mind. It absolutely blows my mind. So yeah, hiring, you guys and having Nina come on is by far the best thing that has happened to my business. It saved me, 3 to 5 hours. We've, increased monthly recurring revenue every single month that she's been on, and it's amazing.
And that's really the power. So there's a lot of work ethic. You know what I mean? She's displaying a lot of work ethic for you, going above and beyond what's expected. And of course, as entrepreneurs, we kind of think that way. We think, well, yeah, doesn't everybody think this way? But the reality is, in a lot of cases, employees don't. They're doing minimums, right? They're doing what they need to do to do whatever. But in this particular case, and of course, not all of our VAs will perform at that level. It really is. It's a situation where the client picks their VA and they develop that relationship. And sometimes it works. Well, most of the time it works, but every once in a while it doesn't work as well. And I always love to hear stories where it's performing exceptionally well, because at the end of the day, it's meant to be a blessing to your business. You're paying somebody to come and work for you, and you want them to have your business in mind, for them to be thinking about that kind of stuff. I've got people on my team that are very much like that, and it's exceptional. When I get one or I see one that doesn't quite have that, it's obvious. And so you become acutely aware of the limitations that people put on themselves and their work ethic. And I'm super excited, of course, that you're very, very happy. And I know you've at least put us in touch with at least one person that we've talked with. I get a lot of referrals in, but I always appreciate when you guys refer other folks to us. So obviously she's doing social media engagement for you. She's doing some data collection, data monitoring, helping to interpret that information so it's actually useful. Anything else she's doing for your business?
Not currently, because that takes up a lot of time. So it really is just kind of data entry. She's managing the CRM, and potentially in the future, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds as far as, I think she has a lot more potential than just being a CRM manager. At the end of the day, I think that there's a lot of potential for her.
That might be good for you to explore that too. Is like what and even ask her, obviously she knows a good chunk of your business. Does she have ideas that stuff that could increase or, sharpen what it is that you're doing and allow her to grow into that? Because, I mean, if you need to add hours, of course, you can just add 2 hours a week or 3 hours or 5 hours or whatever. I mean, you can just grow it. We've had some people that will actually change their job description. It's like, well, this person has grown beyond this. They're now kind of my executive assistant. They're really helping at this different level. So they'll change the job description, maybe even give a little bit of a raise to the person as they're changing jobs and becoming a bigger part of what's going on. So there's so much flexibility that you can do. Just when you're ready to grow in those directions, you can absolutely explore that. We're happy to help facilitate that. Okay, so what have you learned so far from working with an overseas virtual assistant? I mean, initially you don't know anything about it. Maybe you do some research or whatever, but then you start to do it. Tell me about that growth in your experience working with them.
Yeah, I think that if someone wants to hire a VA, there's a time for it. And I think that starting off is not the best time. So someone who's looking to hire a VA is probably someone who is a little bit overwhelmed with just some of the mundane things that they're doing, or some of the repeatable things that they're doing, or they have things that they know that they can make repeatable. And that's going to force them, which is good. It's going to force them to either, one, delegate, or two, find a way to delegate. And so I think that everyone should always be pushing towards that if they want to scale their business. I mean, not everyone has to scale their business to gajillions of dollars or whatever. But if you want to scale your business, you should always be looking for ways to, how can I make this repeatable and how can I delegate it? How can I make this repeatable? How can I delegate it? And so creating a system out of what you do on a daily basis is hyper important. And so maybe if you're just starting off, that's not the best time to do it because you're still just learning, okay, what's the best message to send? What is the best, which CRM do I use? How do I even track these people? What's the best way of doing this? So that's the fun part about an entrepreneur is you're everything all at once within the first, couple of years of you doing it. But then it's like, okay, once you're a little bit more seasoned, then you can start to, bring in extra help. And I think that's when the scaling starts to happen, when you see oh my gosh, it's working and I'm not doing it. That's it's a burden that's just it's amazing.
Yeah, it gives you that mental bandwidth back too. So I know for me, because I've got 6 VAs that work for me now, and 4 of them full-time, 2 of them part-time. But they're the amount of okay, I know this is taken care of and there's some redundancy there because it's critical operations. But you start thinking a little bit different about your business and allows you to grow in ways that can improve the services to your clients, or maybe add additional services, or look for other opportunities to generate revenue within your business. So, and that comes with mental bandwidth. And when you systemize things and you start delegating, it really does open up a whole world. Well, Kalvin, I've appreciated the conversation. If folks want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Go to Instagram at Long Haul Coaching. It's the best way. Nina will reach out to you, but it'll look like it's from me.
Is Instagram your main platform? Are you doing a lot on LinkedIn too? Or?
Nope, just Instagram. One at a time.
All right, what's your follower count up to now?
50,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, congratulations.
I don't 47.6 or something. It's I'll say 50,000.
Yeah.
Very close.
I don't remember. It's been a minute. So how fast have you been growing?
It grew so fast. I think the last time we talked, I was maybe at 2,000.
Yeah, because definitely, even 20,000 would have stood out. Well, congratulations, man. That's awesome to see that. But you've niched down. You're like, all right, Instagram's where it's at.
Yeah.
What kind of content can people expect to find on Instagram that you're posting?
Very niche content for guys over 25 who are looking to become pain resilient and increase performance.
A lot of personal branding, or
no, a lot of tips, a lot of tricks, and a lot of really helpful things. I try to put as much value. One of the things that I live by within my content is I want to put out content that's valuable enough that people never have to work with me and they can get results. The only type of people that work with me are the people that want to work with me. But my content is out there and it's good enough to, if people don't want to ever work with me, they can still get results.
Dude, that's a really good model. That's actually a pretty popular business model. It's to give everything away for free.
Yep.
And then, the right people will come around. Sometimes it's like they're almost they feel guilty. They want to pay you something
the guilt
somehow.
trip business model.
Love that. Did you do any local seminars or anything like that too?
Nope.
Just all Instagram.
All Instagram. Go all in. I'll probably diversify, in the next couple of years. But like right now, it's like just go all. I mean, I haven't even mastered Instagram yet. Why would I move to something else?
Yeah, fair enough, dude.
That first.
End up having a whole team of, a whole team of folks running all your different social medias, right? At that level. All right, Kalvin. Well, thanks again, man. I appreciate that. As we wrap up the show, quick reminder, check out our latest podcast and catch video version of the show anytime by visiting our website at satalkradio.com. It's going to be it for this one. You guys have a great week. We'll see you on the next one.